Hello there. The Great War was a time of trenches, of burgeoning tanks, and mustaches? Most people only ever remember the great powers of the UK, Germany, and Russia when it comes to World War I. But what about the poor, snail-eating Frenchies? I'm going to take the revanchist, ever-striking, politically unstable France and try to hold up against the Germans in Great War Redux. But not only that, I'm going to do it totally and completely historically. This means historical divisions, designs, and even historical battle plans where I can help it. So what do you think? Can I ho-ho-ho the Germans into submission? Why not like the video and subscribe to find out? Every new sub is one more baguette for a poor French soldier. Okay, France. France has a lot of different problems, from champagne riots, because who doesn't love champagne, to disjointed government. Wait, isn't this the same one as base game 1936 France? Is the French government ever stable? Oh god, incompetent industry? That is agony. And memories of 1870? This is the same focus as base game, it's just the memories of World War I in that time. What? Why must the French always suffer? I hope you don't like this Prime Minister's mustache too much, because he will be leaving very soon to be replaced again and again and again. France in World War I has a surprisingly diverse focus tree with a lot of different branches and fun little focus points, including a lot of monarchy stuff, but we will be going nice and historical and democratic. Got to first exonerate Richard Dreyfuss, the poor Jewish officer who was so unfairly maligned in like the 1890s or something. Also going to expand some civilian industry. I mean, if we lose Paris, we basically lose the game, so no harm doing it there, but I'm going to try and avoid building anything too close to the borders. And we have our lovely research tree where you can research pretty much everything with just the 3 research slots. There's just not enough diversity available. We've just got to be aware of tanks, because we can not only get them early, but we also need to make all 3 kinds. France had quite a few tanks. Plus investing in lots of guns, in artillery, and a little bit in howitzers, because I will need them eventually. And as ever, when we do our historical divisions in 1914, we're going to have to retool all of these, because France starts with so many different kinds of divisions. It's so weird, and I found very few sources for the majority of these, and some of these were actually supposed to just be regiments. I'm not sure, but we'll deal with this once we hit 1914. We've got all kinds of weird decisions as well. The intervention in Morocco that'll happen next year. We've also got the National Assembly. We've got to keep an eye on our seats, and there's rallies and all kinds of nonsense. We can pull out from Wade, which is apparently a war we're at in the middle of Central Africa. That's odd. I should be able to just pretty easily defeat them. They have only 3 crappy divisions. I'll deal with that. Oh, and also, I need to decide which path to actually go down. There's multiple democratic ones: Social Democratic Compromise and Save the Republic, which puts us in control of the Radical Party. And looking at the actual seats and looking it up online to see who actually was the ruler, it would appear the Radical Party was the correct choice. I think this path also has the most focuses to try and improve our terrible economy and give us some construction speed bonuses, because this country's just messed up, man. I really don't understand this weird political party mechanic. I have like administrative reforms that happen if I have enough seats, but I don't seem to have any way of impacting the number of seats that I have, just random events, so I guess I'll just ignore it. I've also just realized that champagne riots is actually weekly stability loss. I need to get rid of this now. Dear God. Easily defeated Wadai. It was basically just walking into them with my spare divisions, which bypassed a bunch of focuses. Alright. Got me thinking about war economy though, and it would appear the only way I can get to early mobilization is doing Taxi de la Mer, which requires me to have a war with a major country. That seems very limiting, but maybe I can still change it and it just moves me up once I choose that focus? I don't know. Of course, strikes. How could I not have expected this? I'm playing France after all. Here we have our first political resignation. Artiste Briand has retired. Oh boy. Now we got this lucky fellow. The artwork is not it, man. What is this head? Oh, there's the beginning of the Fez crisis. We got Moroccan rebels being all mean-like. We can do the historical choice and just occupy it and get Morocco for free. Alright, very nice. This actually kicks off the Agadir crisis, but nothing much will really come to it. Germany will get all complainy, but it means we can do early Moby because we've raised the world tension by being imperialist colonizers. Yay! I lost and gained a new PM, this time with a cool mustache. The Italian war is happening, giving us enough world tension to get partial Moby, but first of all, time for another election, so we lose this PM as well, gaining Raymond Poincaré. The beards are just magnificent. We now have access to the Battle of France preparation, where we can renovate a bunch of arsenals. I think all this does is just give us more military factories. And the French fortifications focuses, where I can spend command power to add 2 forts to various provinces along the German and Belgian border. It actually adds 2 land forts, so I wonder if maybe it'd be smarter to build up my forts to their maximum and then click this, so that I can get even more forts than I should be able to. That could be fun. In this mod, you got to go down the fortification line in the construction tree to even be able to build forts and get levels of them, so it's going to take quite a while before we can actually hit level 5 and level 10, so it could be helpful. We also get the decision of trusting Michel or trusting HOI4. And these are basically just two ideas for how to defend France in the event of a German attack. And Michel's idea was, get this, unite with Belgium and defend Belgium's borders because it would be inevitable that Germany would push in there. Crazy idea, I know. But instead, everyone listened to HOI4, who said that we should just push into Alsace-Lorraine and wreck Germany quickly with loads of offensive bonuses. So we don't get any of these amazing landfort effectiveness and landfort construction speed bonuses. No. Instead, we gain a bunch of speed or regain attack bonuses. I'm sure that's going to be useful in the coming war. This actually was a big argument in real life and actually led to Michel being kicked out of being a general and never really got a command ever again, even though he was completely right. Hooray! Let's go with this moron. I'm sure Germany will fall apart instantly. Oh my god, not another prime minister, please. What? That's just the first guy again. Artiste Brand. He's come back? Alongside that, we got some more damn strikes. And what? Artiste Brand retires. He literally just took over, and now he's retiring for Louis Barthau. Okay, that's a better beard, I guess. This is a really weird specific event, a capture of a damaged German Zeppelin. I tried to find any specific sources for this and what happened, but all I could find was a listing of a picture in a book that cost £120. But this apparently happened, and we inspected it and let it go again. But alright, cool of the mod makers to include this. I hired a Chief of Army to get some XP, so I can now finally start to go up the Great War era doctrine. In this mod, you have to finish all these doctrines before you can go to the regular one. I've got Joseph Cellini, which makes it cheaper as well. And we can choose lead by order for extra planning or lead by task for planning speed. And France at this time was all about, we're going to push real deep and do crazy plans, so lead by order makes sense. And then you get the incredibly important trench warfare, giving you 20 max entrenchment. God, I need it. We're going to further cement our aggression by doing Rhineland, which gives us a really nice big bonus against Germany if we attack them. I'm sure that'll go just fine. Don't worry though, it's time for another PM. Why do I have to lose so many leaders? Mustaches are back in fashion. But it is now the 1st of January 1914, so we can make all of our divisional designs. First up, it's got to be the very simple and important 1914 Infantry Division. My source for this is incredibly helpful, not only giving me the amount of men within each division, but also a good broad estimation of the kinds of equipment and the organization of them. The source provides that it's 2 brigades of 2 regiments each of which with 3 battalions, and 3 groups of 12 sets of 75 artillery, meaning 36 artillery, so just 1 battalion of artillery fits that. It also has an engineer company and 1 squadron of cavalry, which I will say is a cav recon, making this an extremely standard and reasonable division. Though we have to think a little bit about the manpower because it actually has 16,000 men within the division. So we'll add a few infantry battalions so as to bring up the manpower total just enough to hit the 16,000 mark, and there we go. I don't want to do the full 4 because that makes 17,000, so even though it's a little bit ugly, I'm going to remove the bottom right one. And there we go, the 1914 Infantry Division. It's really solid and good. It's dependable. Alongside the regular infantry division, the French army had reserve infantry divisions, which were designed to fill in gaps as and when they appeared, and they were pretty similar to the regular infantry division, just a bit reduced. The Reserve Infantry Division boasted only 14,000 total men, but weirdly a different organization of infantry brigades, and also 2 squadrons of cavalry. So I think the best approximation that I can do here is to slap all the men together into 3 regiments, thus giving me the room to be able to add the additional cavalry battalion to represent the 2nd Squadron. And there we go. I think this is pretty close, you know? I guess it's meant to be a slightly more mobile, if a bit weaker infantry division. And these guys are meant to fill in gaps and act as a reserve in the event of enemy pushes. One thing I've struggled with when researching for this video is the exact armament and organization of the colonial divisions. And I think I've got the answer though, because I found one source that specifies them as having 4 regiments in 2 brigades. Problem is sometimes a regiment is actually only a battalion size depending on its organization, so I wasn't 100% sure what it was supposed to have until I found this source, which, yes, it's in French, but don't worry, I have the power of some mild linguistic ability and Google to figure out that it says that specifically this regiment had 1,475 casualties in 1 day. Thus, it can't be battalion size because that would be like 110% casualty rate, so the regiments are properly regimental size, thus making the colonial division a pretty similar size to the rest of the French army. But what I'm going to do is make a slightly different version of the reserve infantry, because I've also found some sources that say that it had much fewer pieces of artillery than regular infantry divisions. So what I'm going to do So removing a few infantry battalions and no actual line artillery, just support artillery, making it only have 12 pieces. And I think this is it, the Colonial Guard. These are the guys who will fight in Africa. And finally, it's the Cavalry Division. And what's really funny is that this is actually perfect. The source I found is clearly the one that they also used. It has 4 regiments of dragoons, a cyclist group, and only 1 battery of 75mm guns, thus meaning 12 guns. So this is pretty much perfect. The only thing I would do is change it around so that there are actually 4 regiments of dragoons. Cavalry regiments are usually about half the size of an infantry regiment. And there we go, that makes my history brain go unga bunga. That is it, the Division de Cavalry. I love it. Good job, mod creators. All of our weird colonial templates now will convert to our regular colonial guard and send them all over Africa and stuff. There's not really much point doing any port defense. The enemy AI shouldn't really invade me, and we don't have much to defend. We have a big navy. So instead it's about polishing off the weird little bits of German Africa along the western and central bits of Africa, just in case they flood it with loads of troops and take over Africa. Can't have that. All these conversions are going to absolutely tank my manpower. So perhaps a bit too early, we're going to go for La 3-1, which is going to give us extensive conscription and hopefully a lot more men. This is by far the strangest event that the mod creators have added, the Callieu affair. This is essentially a newspaper editor who was being a bit too sus, and a woman got really upset that he was going to publicize about her affair with this chap. So she did what any reasonable woman would do and murder him. And what's really weird is that she managed to get off and was acquitted for this crime. I don't understand it, and we'll do the historical thing that Henriette indeed tries to assassinate him. Oh, cringe old history. Women are not made for war, apparently. This time, she did not kill him. He survived. Well, damn, the timeline is never going to recover from this. I'm starting to get my divisions all together. I'm actually going to change 20 of them down to reserves so that I do actually have some reserves. It just seems like a good idea. Nope, okay, government didn't like that. My PM is retiring again. Okay, who's in charge now? What, this guy's barely got a beard at all. What the hell, Renee? Hey, there it is. Franz Ferdinand, go bye-bye. It's the July crisis. We've only got a little while now, so I'm getting all my boys together. We're going to immediately start developing Germanophobia so I can go down towards Il ne passeront pas, you shall not pass, which gives us some nice bonuses. And also thinking about getting static warfare bonuses. I'm just really concerned. Russia has appealed. Well, we do not abandon our allies, of course. We will guarantee Serbia alongside you, my lad. The assaults have officially begun. Germany has started moving on us and Luxembourg. I have my entire army pretty much on the German border. Serbia is getting hit pretty hard, and Russia, oh my god, that's bad. I've got my reserves nearby, just training up to fill in any gaps, but we're going to do our very first pushes very shortly. I have assigned my generals in bad timing, unfortunately, but it's fine. We're going to start grinding in. I have the limited air force of mostly just scouts getting ready to help, and, you know, I'm seeing some green bubbles. And we're going to work down towards Taxis de la Manne so we can go up to war economy, which is brilliant. But first we have to do the long-expected war. Pushing as best we can, but we'll keep training up new divisions as well. I'm sure we're going to need them eventually. The UK is finally going to join. That's very nice. It's been a whole day, my guy. And hopefully they will send some forces to give us a bit of a hand. Oh, and we're going to also push into the German African bits. There are no troops here. There's no Africa Corps. Yeah, I'm not sanguine about these assaults. They just have too much defense. We are not making any headway. But they're not pushing into us either. I'm going to start getting some extra boys together. Oh, the US is going to sell me rifles. 2,000. Yeah, let's go. It cost me PP, but it's absolutely worth it. Even though I do have rifles, I'm going to run out real quick. Especially as, oh my god, the German invasion of Belgium. Who could have ever predicted this? It's okay, we're prepared. We're just going to extend the regular line all the way up through Belgium. Stop training the reserves, should have done that earlier, and put them behind the river, starting in Verdun from Talige, just in case that completely collapses so that we have the added benefit of the river. Oh hey, we can send all those guns straight to Russia. Might as well help them out. They're probably going to suffer harder than me. We officially just gained Plan 17, which gives us the lovely bonuses. Oh boy, so useful, except of course we're not going to be able to use it because we can't actually push into them because they have forts and they're also attacking us. I am searching in vain for Britain's forces. I have no one in Europe right now. It's been almost 3 weeks. Okay, there's a couple divisions moving over. Okay, they're all here. There's like 400 divisions protecting the Suez Canal. Genius. In good news, I've already wiped out German West Africa, so might as well help out in East Africa and crush them as well. We actually have managed to liberate Luxembourg in our little push, but not taken anything else, and I'm also going to turn off the attack now, because it is now mid-September, and the Battle of the Frontiers ended around now. I'm trying to be kind of historical with relatively historical battle plans, so we're going to go on the defensive now. Oh man, they had the Schlieffen plan giving them a ton of bonus against me and Belgium and Luxembourg. Oh my god, that is strong. And we've been reinforced force me out of Luxembourg. Okay, never mind. Russia is getting absolutely dumpstered in the east, just red bubbles everywhere. And there's the Black Sea raid, which means the Ottomans will join, so the Brits will be fighting in Africa. So maybe what I'll do is I'll move some of the troops up that I have in German East Africa to try and help them out. Because I really don't want the Brits to lose the Suez, since they seem to love it so much. At least we're moving up in our doctrine tree, so we get preliminary bombardment, more soft attack. Hopefully that'll help us as we try to defend Belgium from all the Germans in the world. Oh, it's the Christmas truce, isn't that lovely? Everyone plays some football. Though historically, the French did not really listen to this truce very much. They still bombed and killed Germans. It was really more the Brits who liked to play footy. Oh god, army epidemic. That's pretty bad. This is tetanus, I guess. Alright, well, our army's just gonna keep getting sick. Oh dear god, and I just lost a bunch of my ships against the German Navy. Why is the British people not helping me? Oh yeah, no. They're all dead. I just missed this. The entirety of the Atlantic fleet I had ready in the channel is dead. Why? How? Okay, I think I know why we're doing so well on the Western Front. There's like 80 or 100 German divisions right here on the east, just crushing into Russia. These poor guys. This is obviously not quite the German plan in real life, where they tried to quickly capitulate France and then move east. But who knows? Oh, I can add Liberia to the Entente. I'm sure they will contribute plenty. Also, I forgot, I missed it by a couple months. It is now 1915, so we can make the small amounts of changes that we need to do for our divisions. The only significant change that occurred in 1915 was that the French army got rid of the reserve army division. They basically realized that having a weaker infantry division who was going to fight eventually was stupid, so I'm going to just convert all of the reserve infantry divisions to normal infantry divisions. All divisions also gained telegraph companies, but I actually can't have the signal company just yet until like 1916, so we'll do that when I can. I'm getting real concerned about Russia, man. Please, they're going to get encircled. I think it's because they're really struggling in the south against this Persia now, and they're against the Ottomans. It's too harsh, and we're also losing navally. I think we need to just try and do some pushes here to try and keep the German forces occupied, because I've not really been doing much. I'm also very low of artillery. I gotta figure out how to make this army sustainable and maybe keep them busy. I'm also now only just getting rid of incompetent industry. It's gonna take 70 days, but that's 10% factory output. So good. And the Germans are really starting to hit me in Belgium, but not doing much else. Trouble is these damn trenches. Every attack I do is red bubbles everywhere. It's unpleasant. We have landed at Thessaloniki, though. This is an event thing that basically just gives us a tiny bit of Greece and allows us to begin to station troops ready to push into Bulgaria. Oh, and it actually does create a new divisional template, the Division l'Armée Orient, which is basically kind of just like a weaker colonial division, which is really cool. But looking them up, I do believe that, in fact, these were pretty much the same as regular infantry divisions. So I will just convert them to normal infantry divisions, even though it's going to cost me more manpower. But that's what these guys were. Oh, and this weird little puppet Sanusia has erupted out, so we're going to send our colonial boys to try and help them, because I don't trust the British AI to not collapse and lose all of Africa. Yeah, there we go. They don't have enough troops. We'll just completely encircle and delete them. Alright, that's the end of Serbia. They had out for a very long time, but that's going to result in a lot of Austrian forces pouring onto the borders. And for God's sake, another PM retiring. Alright, who's in charge now? Not you again. Alright, 1915 was a pretty solid grind. We've lost a fair amount of men. Germany's lost far more, but it is now 1916, so we can start to make the next change that occurred for the French army. Both out of a desire to add more artillery and to reduce the number of men that each infantry division was required, a company of trench artillery was added to the infantry division, which I will approximate by simply adding a bit of support artillery. The infantry brigades were also deleted, and thus the division was reorganized into the familiar 3-regimental system. This necessarily reduced the amount of manpower of the division to around 13,000, so I can actually just delete one whole section of this, and there we go. This is our new infantry division. Proportionally more artillery per man in the field, and an easier division to field, making it a lot better on our manpower. Oh my god, a push into Alsace-Lorraine has been achieved. We're also pushing in for Saarbrücken. The red bubbles are here, but it's all about reinforced memeing. Oh, beware the tank. I guess the first tanks are starting to appear. We need to start thinking about that as well. We have completed mechanized effort, which does give us some research bonuses for the early medium chassis, so we're just going to get that real quick. I also finally got our very first fighters and tactical bombers, ignoring the Easter Rising, so we can give us some CAS support onto Western Germany, because they don't have any planes yet. It's very weak and very crappy, but it's better than nothing. There we go, look at that, 10 damage, let's go. We've now finished researching our very first tank, so let's make it. There is actually a preset for the Schneider CA, but actually there is a focus that gives it to us, so we're going to wait until we get that focus first. And in the meantime, we can expand the Thessaloniki front, actually giving us control over this kind of weird little area. Plus, we can also actually get the new doctrine that's all offensive, either Material Schlacht or the armored support. And the French went armored support because they started to use tanks en masse. Oh my god, what the hell, Britain? You've completely crushed the Ottomans. Holy crap, it's only 1916. What is this? Oh, there's the ill-fated Romania joining the Entente. It's so tragic. They just get wrecked. At least we got a new Passeron giving us division defense, but Romania, if only they could have it. All right, with that focus completed, we can now make our tanks. Let's take a look at them. Very simple division design, kind of accurate, but the design itself is what I'm interested in, which is the Schneider CA1 Mark 0. The Schneider historically had a 75mm main gun, which is actually completely accurate to what it's given us, as well as 2 sets of machine guns. There's only one here, but this actually is a set of machine guns, so I'm going to say that is pretty correct. Additional machine guns. I think this is it. It's ugly as hell, but that is our first medium tank. Don't worry, there's even more tanks in our future. The French miracle gives us light tanks. I'm very excited to keep going towards those. But in the meantime, we just gotta keep trying to push with what we've got. The specific tank division design is a bit weird because it's hard to find specific sources because they weren't organized in divisions, they were accompanying infantry regiments. But this is about right in terms of how they would be organized in terms of 3 tank battalions to 2 infantry battalions. It's relatively accurate, so we're gonna work with it. And there's the state of Thessaloniki, which means we actually gain this weird little country that's joined our lads. So we need to quickly move all of our boys to the Bulgarian front and try to defend it, because, oh god, we're going to lose that quick. God, once more, Artiste Brand has retired. All right, who's next? I'm reasonably certain I haven't seen you before, Mr. Big Beard Man. Is anyone keeping count of how many there are? My god. Oh my god, I wasn't even paying attention. I've been auto-planning. We capitulated Bulgaria, or rather, we all did unitedly. The fall of Sofia. That is fantastic. It's only late 1916. Look at us go. Oh, it seems a little bit early, but it's a letter from the Karl I, which is basically a conditional peace, trying to chill out on the war and sort of go around Germany. Obviously, historically, it fails. I did this when I played Austria-Hungary recently, but it's interesting to be on the receiving end of it. Focuses have just granted us the new Renault FT MK0. Of course, we're going to make it. Come on. The historical Renault FT had nothing more than a Hotchkiss main gun and a single turret, and this is completely correct to what it has. It's a very simple tank designed to move quickly and provide some armored fire support to infantry formations, and this is what it is. It's actually quite a successful tank, despite being really lame. So we'll make it. Let's go. The division that it gave us is actually even bigger than the medium ones, and it actually has cavalry, I guess meant to represent the fact that these were meant to be these sort of fast movers. I have no real sources or information for the specific organization of tank divisions because there weren't any. They were only accompanying individual infantry formations. This is what we're going to do. And we've also, by the way, managed to push heavily into Germany. Here's the Zimmerman telegram. Oh my goodness, that's going to bring the glorious Americans in to help us fight the Germans. And also we got the early heavy tank chassis, which will eventually allow us to make a brand new tank. But the preset is weird. It's only the Canon D194, which was actually the very earliest idea of a self-propelled gun. But this didn't actually get made until about 1920, so we will not make this. The tank this should be is the Charmant, but I think Focus will give us that a little bit later. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to rename the Schneider CA1 medium tank to HP Lovecats after a lovely supporter. And the FT? It's the PJ Gill. Time also managed to get away from me a bit because it is now 1917, so we gotta think about our next changes. All infantry divisions gained a lovely battery of 155mm TRs rapid fire, which are essentially howitzers. This turns our infantry divisions into a surprisingly powerful, potent, offensive force with loads of guns, not many men, and a little bit too low org, but this is it. This is now a real pushing force. Oh god, I was not prepared for the howitzer edition. Oh god, is the farm crisis? It's so over. I got the Char 2C focus, but the weird thing is it only really gives me a research bonus towards getting like heavier tanks later on, which is really weird, so I need to make the Char 2C on my own. The Saint-Chamond 25T, or eventually the Char 2C, was the beautiful heavy tank, and it had a 75mm main gun and 4 8mm Hotchkiss machine guns. This was a beast of a vehicle. I could slap on a ginormous like heavy howitzer, but I think it makes more sense instead to use the medium howitzer to represent the 75 mils. We will slap in the medium fixed superstructure, and we also need to add all of the machine guns, each of them being 2, so let's do that. And it does need a little bit more speed and armor so as to represent the actual speed, but this is basically the Saint-Chamond. This is the heavy tank. It was a beast. A real chunker of a tank. My game lagged, and there we go. April Revolution. This is the collapse of the Russian government. So we're only a few months away from severe collapse on the Eastern Front. We're very deep into Germany now, or at least somewhat, and I think we need to do a general push to try and take as much as possible, because as soon as the Eastern Front collapses, the Germans will crush into us. We've been building some forts. Let's build some more. Try to hold on to what we've got. I am terrified of the Ludendorff offensive. Ah, but get wrecked. Look at that. German ships destroyed. Finally, we brought some more ships over. And we have a rebellious army, which is giving us massive penalties for like several months. 50% division attack. I have to not do anything. Sit down, boys. We also do now have enough XP to finally finish the Great War Doctrine, but this is actually a bad thing. You actually lose all that entrenchment speed and stuff. You just gain some breakthrough and speed. So I don't want to do that. You only want to do it when you know you're going to definitely be pushing and going up to like the World War II Doctrine. So we're just going to ignore that. No, please. Not again. Who now? Kolpanlev. Well, at least he's a new face, I guess. Oh no, I'm sorry. 3 seconds later, he's retired as well. Okay, new PM, please. George Klemenkow. Why is he cocking his eyebrows at me like he wants me to do something I'm not comfortable with? I need an adult. There's the Bolshevik coup. That means the Eastern Front is one step closer to collapsing. It's also now 1918, so it's time for the very final divisional changes. Just in time for Germany to attack us. The only real significant change in the infantry divisions in 1918 was they gained a pioneer battalion, which I'm going to abstract as saying it is a stormtrooper section, which is meant to represent, you know, early machine gun guys and flamethrowers to make it easier to assault trenches and in-place fortifications. I think this is it, the final division of our game. It's cool as hell. And to celebrate that coolness, we gotta get rid of this lame name and instead replace it with the Libido Division, the glorious YouTube member. Well, this will slow us both down. The influenza pandemic, some horrendous modifiers for an incredibly long amount of time. We have to vaccinate. It's going to kill us. But it also kills the Germans. Okay, there it is. Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. That's not good. The Germans are going to be coming very soon. And the Ludendorff offensive. Oh, God. So they get tons of bonuses now, and they're stacking up troops on me. We just got to hold. They get huge offensive bonuses, but if I can just hold out and win the war, I would, yeah, here we go. There. Okay, red bubbles. I'm just going to try and occupy at least some of their forces, but my God, where are the Americans? Well, the Italians are completely trapped here, along with the British. They sent 1 million men to go defend Montenegro, so, oh boy, I guess I won't be getting any help on my border. No, don't worry, look, here it is. The cavalcade of Americans. 50 divisions are appearing on my shores right now. They're pouring in April 1918. Let's go. Oh, marching past Paris. Please save us in the Saarbrück Gap. Oh god, they're hitting us. And just in time, I've blown up most of the German fleet, or at least their capitals. It's glorious. We can do this with the might of America. Alright, with the addition of the American forces, they have not been able to push me anywhere, and they're still sending me rifles. I am running out of manpower, but look at this. We're holding. Also been saving up PP so I can do mass vaccination. Man, that's hard to say. In 90 days, that'll fix my various problems with, you know, sneezing to death. Okay, I take it all back. We're starting to lose territory. Kaiserslautern and Saarbrücken are getting hit pretty hard. Come on, that's some good pronunciation. Though don't worry, guys. Britain's defending the Suez Canal with 1 million men. No worries. At least they sent me some expeditionary forces from some of them so I can send them to the wall. Ah, no worries. Erich Ludendorff has asked for peace. This is cool to be on the receiving end of it this time. Notre near Compagne, peace at last. We can actually just keep going and try to wreck Berlin and basically kill millions more, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do peace at last, which means that for some reason, along with the Armistice of Compagne and this beautiful menu screen, we have to now wait 10 days. There's a 10-day waiting period. So we've declared peace, but everyone's still going to fight for 10 days. So yeah, let's just go. Full send it. Let's just attack and drive up the casualties a little bit more. You know, really just get some last-minute glory. We got some tanks, like 5 tank divisions. Let's just do it. I want the glory for the French. All right, I didn't take any extra territory because the peace has now happened. We are in the lovely white peace while we decide what to do with Europe. We'll just drag our entire army back in a central line in northern France to await the results of the peace at Compagne and the Paris Peace Conference. We get all kinds of weird events, including a Korean independence, but the main thing is post-war demobilization. We leave the Entente, our economy goes into the poop chamber, and we basically get a bunch of factories deleted. We have like 50 civs and 110 mills to start with. Oh god, now only 33 mills. So many deleted, only 39 civs. The pain. This German fleet has been scuttled. They didn't want to give it to us. Oh, what a bunch of jerks. And the Soviet borders, just ignore that. Austria-Hungary is sort of just imploding and being turned into 1 billion countries. Oh, okay. The French annexation of the Republic of Alsace-Lorraine. So basically, apparently, Alsace-Lorraine had a natural insurgency against the rulership of Germany. And they were like socialist Marxists, like communists. What? That's crazy. And we just walked in and took it and made it French. Okay, that's cool. I did not know that. And there's the full piece. It's beautiful. We got a whole bunch of Western Germany. Britain has taken Cologne for some reason, and the rest of Europe is falling apart nicely. But that is it. We have won the Great War with only historical divisions. We have a bunch of things we could do if we wanted to keep playing, but mostly it's just sitting there and trying to rebuild your economy. So I will call it here. Thank you so very much for watching. Do be sure to leave a like and a comment down below, and definitely suggest a new video you'd like to see on the channel in the future. So I bid you a very French adieu. Bye-bye.